January 1995. Grozny, the presidential palace of Dzhokhar Dudayev, the militants' last stronghold. They were prepared to fight to the last man. A direct assault would have cost hundreds of lives. And so, the Russian command made a decision to deploy the most powerful and terrifying weapon in the land forces' arsenal. Monstrous explosions shattered their defenses. The militant spirit was broken. A Marine reconnaissance battalion captured the building with almost no losses. But the next day, a sensation spread across the world. Dudayev claimed that Russia had used tactical nuclear weapons against him. It was a myth, but every myth has its roots. In reality, the palace was targeted by Soviet Tulip mortars. But why did this story spawn a nuclear rumor? The answer lies in one of the Cold War's most secret chapters. Today, for the first time in detail, we tell the story of the weapon that could have changed the course of any war. The story of nuclear artillery. Autumn 1949. Panic in the United States. The Russians have the atomic bomb, but how will they deliver it to America? Bomber range wasn't sufficient. Washington was searching for an answer, and it came from an unexpected direction. On January 31, 1950, President Truman issued a directive: work on all forms of atomic weapons. And American military thinkers wondered, what if we could make a nuclear shell that could be fired from a cannon? May 25, 1953, Nevada test site. Operation Grape Shot. A 27-kiloton bomb is dropped from an aircraft, but a second device, with a yield of 15 kilotons, is an artillery shell. It's delivered to its firing position by the new M65 atomic cannon. The tests showed that even with reduced yield, the nuclear shell caused monstrous destruction. But this victory was top secret. The Pentagon understood. Its main trump card against Soviet tank armadas was the element of surprise. And what about the USSR? For a long time, the Soviet leadership didn't even suspect the new threat. Imagine, our tank columns in Europe would have been obliterated by fire from American nuclear guns from a distance of 30 km. Catastrophe would have been inevitable. But in May 1955, a breakthrough occurred. A French officer from NATO headquarters made contact. Agent Fair delivered shocking news. The Americans had secretly deployed their first nuclear guns in Europe. The Soviet response was lightning fast. Urgently, under the classification of supreme importance, the main artillery directorate received its task: create our own nuclear artillery. And so, the monsters were born. The 420 self-propelled mortar transformator and the 406 self-propelled gun condensator. The engineering challenges were titanic. How to dampen the recoil from firing a nuclear shell. For the transformator, this problem was brilliantly solved by the legendary designer Joseph Kotin, using the entire mass of the tank itself. In 1957, at the Moscow parade, these behemoths caused a furor. Western attachés couldn't believe their eyes, dismissing them as mock-ups. They simply couldn't conceive that such guns were possible. But a new era was dawning. Khrushchev was in power with his missile euphoria. He declared, "Missiles decide everything." Artillery was declared obsolete. Thousands of artillery officers were discharged. It seemed like the end. But reality intervened. The defeat of the Arab states in the 1967 Six-Day War proved it. Artillery was still the god of the battlefield. And intelligence reported. The Americans had created a new, even more compact nuclear shell, 155 min caliber. The Soviet answer was the legendary flower series: Gvozdika, carnation; Akatsiya, acacia; and the two kings, the 240 self-propelled mortar Tulip and the 203 self-propelled gun Peony. These monsters were formed into brigades of special power, the reserve of the Supreme High Command. A single shot from them could erase an entire battalion, an airfield, or a headquarters from the face of the earth. This was our ironclad argument in case of a NATO forces breakthrough. But something unexpected happened. These atomic monsters found use in conventional wars. In Afghanistan, the Tulips proved indispensable for destroying mountain fortifications. And in Chechnya, it was they who delivered the final blow in the assault on Dudayev's presidential palace, giving birth to that very myth. The 1990s, the end of the Cold War, it seemed the era of nuclear artillery was over. By treaty they were reduced, attempts were made to destroy them. But the peonies and tulips, built to withstand a nuclear blast, turned out to be tough nuts to crack. The experience gained in their creation was not lost. It was embodied in modern systems like the MSTAS and Coalition SV. They too can fire nuclear shells, but their main strength lies in supreme accuracy. And what about now? In 2004, the U.S. resumed work on tactical nuclear weapons, including artillery shells. Russia, for now, maintains a moratorium. But the arms race, just like in the 50s, could restart at any moment. Nuclear artillery is not a relic. It is a formidable potential that still resides in secret arsenals. So what is nuclear artillery? It is a weapon of deterrence, created for a war that never was. It is a symbol of the Cold War's insane genius, when engineers built cannons capable of firing the apocalypse. It is the story of how the most terrifying type of weapon became just another tool on the battlefield. The myth of a nuclear strike on Grozny was false, but it was not born in a vacuum. It was born from a bone-chilling respect for the power of these guns, a power that, to this day, makes adversaries think thrice before making a wrong move. What do you think about nuclear artillery? Do you believe such weapons should be completely eliminated, or are they a necessary element of deterrence? Write your opinions in the comments, let's debate. If you found this interesting, like this video, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you don't miss our new investigations. This has been Interesting Possible. Until the next episode.